So long story short, not that it matters, I picked a card, haven't looked at the questions, but I will share with you what's going on in the card. Oh, here we are. And it's a baseball Deep Space Nine card, which me thinks is Take Me Out to the Holosuite. Eek. That was a tough episode when it first aired. People did not like it. It was supposed to be a fun episode. I admit, I don't think I watched it again because of all the flack it got. But I think maybe we should revisit Take Me Out to the Holosuite. Give it another go. Maybe it deserves... No, I did watch it again. It had the Vulcan team. They were playing the... Okay, yeah, and Sisko didn't like the Vulcan because the Vulcan was a Vulcan. So the Vulcan was acting like Vulcans do. I like baseball. My wife and I appreciate the experience of watching baseball more than the baseball itself. At times you can get excited about it. I'm a big fan of the 7-minute game recaps that MLB has on YouTube. You get the experience of watching what's important in the game without spending 3.5 hours with a game. I appreciate that. I did subscribe to MLB, but I didn't like that they inserted ads into the game. I'm already paying over $100 a year. Why should... I'm going to leave that alone right now. Okay, so baseball and Star Trek. That is with, the third season opener? With the nanites. But I can't remember the name of the episode. I want to say Regeneration, but that's not it at all. That's an Enterprise episode with the Borg. Begins with an R? Who knows? But Wesley and this other guy, and the nanites don't like the other guy, but the other guy can play baseball games in his head because I guess he's a genius and he loves the baseball. That's not the first mention of baseball, though. We were introduced to... Words, Dave, words. We're introduced to Buck Bokai in The Big Goodbye. We're looking at the newspaper with the DiMaggio streak on it. Well, that's not where we're introduced to his name. We only know he's a player for the London Kings. And then it's in Move Along Home, first season Deep Space Nine, where we see a version of Buck Bokai talk to Sisko. And of course, we're forgetting about the pilot, first episode of Deep Space Nine. And yes, it has a plot. I'm going to save that one. Where it's all, you're explaining linear time to the prophets, and we learn it through baseball, the timeless game of paper, rock, scissors. That's what it is. I just finished the book on the Astros cheating scandal. Maybe I'll open up another playlist all about what I think of baseball from a perspective of just casually watching baseball. I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm prepared. Here's the light. First question. What artifact was displayed in Sisko's office? This is a baseball question. There's a photo of Sisko and Odo playing baseball. Deep Space Nine fans know. It's the baseball in the office. And the baseball took on such a larger role than it was intended, but it became the symbol of Sisko and the Federation, what the Federation was doing on Bajor. And of course, Sisko is the prophet to the Bajorans. The baseball becomes a holy relic. But I'm just thinking of Ducat with the baseball. I was watching. I haven't watched it since I was a kid. I know I have a standing desk, so every time I touch it, I shake the camera. I'm working on it. I hadn't watched Total Recall since I was probably a 15-year-old kid, and we watched it last week, and I'm like, hey, it's Gul Dukat, and that was my takeaway from that movie. Have we guessed what I already revealed the artifact in my story. what were the choices they had given us to see what was in there. There were many artifacts in his office. If I had not known that this cover was of the baseball game, I would have said something like Sisko's clock that he made when he was insane because of something that happened on the station. Or didn't he have... He had the clock. He did not have a starship model. I want to say there was a model of the Saratoga in the office, but I think that's wrong. I'm thinking just because Picard had a novel, he had a book, he had the Shakespeare book. Just because Picard had the Stargazer in his office, Sisko would have the Saratoga, but that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so our options are a pitcher's glove, a baseball, or a uniform worn by baseball legend Buck Bokai. And we know that's the baseball. That's B. That's the middle question. All right, not bad. Trying to wonder why all the hatred for Take Me Out to the Holosuite. It had its moments. I liked it. Maybe I'll watch it again. Maybe because it seemed so embarrassing at the time, people just want to cringe about it. But we must embrace the cringe. That's what it's all about. That's why we're aboard her. Okay. Question 2. This is a long one. I don't want to butcher it like I butcher every question. I already answered this in my sum up of the role that baseball plays in Star Trek. So here we go. Which of baseball's last great heroes broke Joe DiMaggio's record for his consecutive games? That's the Buck Bokai answer. Doing well today. Still looking at myself instead of the green light, though, so you can see my eyes go down. Hi, green light. Here you go. All right, Buck Bokai. Now, Buck Bokai... Well, I'm thinking... Never mind. I don't know the individuals' names, but I know one of the production crew was Bokai in the baseball card, which is different from the actor who did portrayed Buck Bokai. There was a podcast last year during COVID called like All the Asians on Trek, and I don't know if the Buck Bokai actor was featured on the podcast because there's a lot of podcasts in the world and I didn't catch up with them all, but I would venture to say yes that he was. So I'll have to go back and listen to that. Okay, so yeah, Buck Bokai. All right, I think I know the baseball fans on a Federation colony revived the game in the late 24th century. Where was this colony located? I know this one too. I forgot about this one. Were they the Pike City? The Pike City that was the city. Pike City Pikes? Pike City Peaks? I don't know what the name of the team was, but it was Pike City. Wasn't that cute? But the colony was Cestus III, where Kirk fought the Gorn. Classic arena episode. Of course, Kirk and the Gorn are mentioned in Deep Space Nine as well in the Tribbles tribute episode. Was it Trials and Tribulations? Yes, it was. Because Sisko remarks that he would love to talk about Kirk and how he fought the Gorn on Cestus III. In 2009, when the reboot movie came out, maybe it was Bad Robot. They were producing these posters and they created this vacation poster for Cestus III. That might be the thumbnail I use for this video if I can go find it quickly enough. And it showed the rocks from the episode, but you have to remember the Vasquez rocks were not on Cestus III. Cestus III was the colony that was destroyed. Kirk and the Enterprise go after the Gorn. They leave that planet and then they go into the territory of the Metrons. And wherever the Metrons transport Kirk and the Gorn, that's where the mountains are. That's where the rocks are. They're not mountains. They're rocks. That's where the rocks are. So we don't know where the rocks are, except that we know it's not Cestus III. So the poster, again, the poster is trying to create a the nostalgia of the memory, but the details get muddled up. Every time I looked at this poster that I had for a while, I'm like, hey, this is a great poster. It's like Go Vacation in Cestus 3, and it had the old original series shuttlecraft going over the rocks, and then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the rocks weren't on Cestus 3. But Cestus 3, 100 years later, has a baseball team. Now, Cestus 3 is different from Setlik 3. That was the Federation outpost that was attacked during the Cardassian War. And that's why Chief O'Brien had some problems with the Cardassians. The Wounded is the Next Gen episode that introduces us to the Cardassians. And Chief O'Brien has some... what's the name of the Cardassian drink? Kanar. Or Kanar. I think it was originally pronounced Kanar in that TNG episode, and then it becomes Kanar in Deep Space Nine. What did the writer have some rights to the phrase Kanar because it was introduced and they had to change the name, just like they had to change the name? Leave that alone for today. All right, so that's the answer to that question. Now the choices for Cestus 3. Omicron Ceti 3. Omicron Ceti 3. Now I want to know what that planet, that's a real planet referenced elsewhere. No. Now, every time a planet ends in 3, no, that's with 5. This is City Alpha 5. I forgot to do that in my Wrath of Khan episode because I was down on Wrath of Khan during that Springboard discussion. All right, next question. All right, so I'm going with these cards. Why not? Because I have so many TOS cards. I need some variety here with the stuff, with the other stuff, and these sit for a while. All my Trek trivia is going to go up to Enterprise, and that's going to be it. Because this stuff has to sit for a bit. I've got to rewatch Discovery again. Get to know the ins and outs of the characters, so on and so forth, but I don't think I can do Discovery trivia or JJ trivia because, by its very nature, it'll be wrong. Sorry, couldn't help but squeeze that one in there. All right. Ooh, this one I don't know. I don't know the year. Got me. When was the last World Series game played? I know not a lot of people showed up, and that's certainly that's certainly true for predicting the future. You never see someone at a baseball game any longer. I don't know why 2287. That's too far out. But that's the only year I have. 22. No, that's in the movie times. 21, 22. No, I have no idea. I'm not gonna pull this one out of the ether. And the answer is 2042. I see what they did there. Yeah, because we all know the importance of 42 in baseball. That's Jackie Robinson's number. So the writers decided, let's make it 2042 as the year where we stop with the baseball. 2042. So that means we only have 20 years of baseball left, folks. So get cracking on that. Otherwise, I think baseball is just going to morph into the show, and whatever version of that game is going to be happening. All right, 2042, folks. Get your tickets today. All right, last question on our baseball Trek card. This is a nice segue for baseball Trek. I have to sleep on it, see what I want to do. I'm also proud of myself for not butchering the questions this time around. Getting better, trying to enunciate, getting my teacher voice back in here instead of my just geek out whatever's going on in my head voice. But I'm imperfect, and I don't have to be perfect. Oh, and here we go. It's a specific Take Me Out to the Holosuite reference. And again, I just shared with you, I've only watched this episode twice. Maybe 3 times. It's been a while since I've done a sit-down with Deep Space Nine, as I've said before. I'm waiting for a HD remaster that's never gonna happen. How was Sisko honored by his teammates after their epic game against the Vulcans? And how's the full name of the team? The Vulcans. I don't know. They didn't win the game, and that was the whole point, right? So I think typical celebration. Did they have a trophy? I don't know. I just don't know. Trophy hat. Something at Quarks later on. Well, let's find out. Oh, of course. They gave him an autographed baseball. How about that? Well, that wasn't so bad for a Springboard. Baseball and Trek. Pretty happy this was the card I chose. And that, I'm getting away just from TOS stuff. I really want to watch Deep Space Nine again. I read most of the post Deep Space Nine novels that are now in the process of getting shunted off into another reality in the Star Trek Coda series right now. But I would recommend the Deep Space Nine reboot, not reboot, but continuation novels. When I think of Deep Space Nine, there's plenty of cringe, like all of the cringe that Trek is. But it's some of the best too. Thinking of Garrick, thinking of Goldacott, thinking of all these initially ancillary characters that became key to the success of the show itself. I'm thinking about the Cardassians. Those are I could have plenty to say about Deep Space Nine as we go. Of course, if it weren't for Deep Space Nine, we wouldn't have Battlestar Galactica, which I think is one of the greatest shows ever. But that's how excited I get. This has little to do with baseball and everything to do with the Deep Space Nine. So not a bad card. All right. So what did I say? I would find some kind. Oh, Buck Bokai. I'm gonna look for Buck Bokai. I'm gonna write this down. Put him up there for folks, and that is my day. So hey, everybody, have a great day.